Hello, everyone. See, we have a few folks viewing. I thought I'd go live a couple minutes early and test all of the technology. If you can hear me and see me, if you could type something in the chat, that would be that'd let me know that things are going well. Great. Looks like it. Looks like we're connecting. Good. People can hear me. That's good. Thank you for those responses. So we'll start here in just a minute when my computer says 6:30, and we'll go from there. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. Okay, good. I'm glad to hear it's working. When we tried this last year, we had a few tech difficulties to get started, but eventually we made it work. So I think a year of practice doing this, and we're a little bit better. So, well, it's 6:30, and I see we've got 12 people who are logged on. We may have some more as we go, but thank you for joining me. I'm Josh. Most of you know me. I'm the principal. We would have been wonderful if we could have had our traditional school open house on this night and invite lots of our families to come into the building and to drop stuff off. It's always such an exciting night in the life of our school to get everybody in here. But we just thought that it maybe wasn't the prudent choice to to have a lot of contacts to start our school year, and then perhaps regret it if suddenly we have kids or staff who have to quarantine. So while I certainly wish we could have had our normal open house and invite all of our parents and students into the building tonight, we're going to play it a little slow to get started with this school year and do this virtual thing. So I'll just say a couple of things about our approach to this upcoming school year. And if you have questions, feel free to type them into the chat, and I'll do my best to respond to them as they come through. So, as if you've seen my emails this summer, some of the things that you'll notice is that school is going to look pretty normal at Blessed Sacrament this year. We've met with the health department several times this summer, and we're following their guidelines, which are basically this. The Department of Health, the Ohio Department of Health recommends that anybody who is not vaccinated wear a mask. Other than that, most of the guidelines are related to quarantines and those kind of things. So as you probably saw in a previous email, it will be the parent's choice and staff members' choice whether they want to wear a mask while they are here. I will share with you that the chances of your child having to quarantine are reduced. I don't want to say eliminated because I'm not the one that makes those decisions, but they are reduced if your child is wearing a mask. If that's something that you wish for your child, we'll ask that you please let your child's teacher know so we can, like with wearing glasses or anything else, we can help remind them. Because if there would be a case come up where we have a positive case of COVID in the building, we'll want to make sure we communicate with the health department which students among those close contacts or staff members or adults were wearing a mask at that time. I will reiterate that it's the health department that makes all decisions on who needs to quarantine and those kind of things. That's out of our hands. All they ask us for is close contact information. So other than that, it will be choice, parent choice about masks. We're still going to maintain assigned seats. I mean, that's a good practice a lot of times anyway, but it will also reduce our quarantines. But other than that, some of the things that we had to do last year, we can go back to normal. So last year we divided kids on the playground, so they were only with their classmates in certain spots of the playground. At this time, we don't see the need to do that. We're also not going to be putting the lunch table dividers back on our lunch tables, which I think we're all happy about. Disclaimer that all of this is subject to change if we get new guidance from the state or from local health officials, but that's where things stand now, according to those things. So it'll be, I think, feel a little more normal. I'm sure we'll still have students wearing masks. I know there will be adults who are wearing masks. And as I said in a previous email, we're going to make sure that we are honoring that decision, both among students and staff. So that's pretty exciting. With the loosening of some of the restrictions right now, we're also going to be able to get volunteers both back in our building and at our festival. So it'd be great to have our festival on August 28th. Then you'll be hearing more about that if you haven't already. So, just a return to normalcy. We are going to still be dividing our students up for masses, but not because of COVID, but because Father Lonzo likes having students at Mass, at every daily Mass. We will be having an all-school Mass for the first time since we shut down schools in spring of 2020, an all-school Mass for all kids to attend on Friday of this opening week as a way to kick off our school year with the sacrament. And, I think it'll just be really great to have all of our students and staff back in church together, praying together. So, the other thing that I wanted to talk about, and as I said, if there's questions coming up, please go ahead and type them in the chat box, and I'll do my best to answer them. Most of you who are with our school last year know that we're switching from Digital Academy to fax, kind of at the request of the diocese. We're going a little bit slower on fax than we went with DA last year. So we will be starting to connect parents to the portal over the course of this week. That's our anticipation. But we didn't want to jump in necessarily with both feet. We want to take it a little slow, make sure that, we're not having to go back and fix things. So we're still learning, teachers are still learning, but we'll get you connected on that as things go through. It's been a very busy summer at Blessed Sacrament. Lots of changes and lots of stuff going on. So with that, I guess I can open it up for questions. If anybody has anything, I'll try to think if there's anything else I should need. If there's a topic you'd like me to cover, go ahead and drop that in the chat box, something that you've been wondering about, you'd like to ask about, let me know. There were a lot more questions last year. Oh, great questions. Okay, perfect. Sorry, lunch menu. Actually, yep, that's on me. It was given to me, and I was supposed to send it out today, and I did not. I will send it out. I will send it out tonight. Great question. We are going to do so for arrival and dismissal. Let's talk about arrival first. We'll still do what we did last year in terms of dropping kids off at the playground when we're able to be outside. When it's cold weather or rainy weather, you'll drop them off at the front door. So yes, we'll still be moving through the parking lot. We are still asking buses to route along Tuscarawas behind the school. So that's the way it's going to be. You can drop off as early as 7:50 without paying for morning latchkey. So 7:50 is when we'll come out to the playground. If you need to drop off before that, we're here at 7 a.m. for morning latchkey, and you can drop off at 7. I'm usually the one covering that each morning. So if you need to drop off for morning latchkey, you would drop them off along Tuscarawas, which is the street behind the building. So there won't be anyone at the front desk. Will be gathered in the cafeteria. So that's for early morning. That's for early morning drop off. We gather on the playground or inside. And for after school, we are going to go back to the pre-COVID practice every day that we can of having our teachers bring students, their classes out to the playground. And they'll be lined up there. Parents can gather on the playground before 2:40. That's what usually happens. We missed that community time, I think, last year, the parent-to-parent communication and the sort of face-to-face parent-teacher communication that happened. So you can park in our main parking lot in front of the school building, and then you can walk over to the playground. Now, I did have a couple of requests from parents who emailed me regarding they have small children, and it's easier for them to not get out of the car. If that's the case, that's okay. We can make that work. If you just want to pull up, to the corner of the playground where the gate is to the playground and just sort of, wave at the teacher there or at me, and we'll escort the kids over to there. But again, the goal is that sort of community time that we often had after school where parents can talk to one another, meet one another, ask questions of the teachers and that kind of thing after school. How do we notify if our child needs to attend the after school program? So really, because we manage it, it's kind of open daily, but for younger students, a lot of times the best thing to do is to communicate that with your child's teacher, that they would be latchkey either every day or they're latchkey on Thursdays and Fridays, or if it's an odd thing here or there, you can let them know they would need after school care on Friday afternoon, and just let the teacher know. That way, we don't end up sort of putting the child on a bus or there being any confusion. So if you just let the teacher know, that will be great. We're looking at, there may be some ways to work through fax that we can make that happen too. But for now, if you just communicate with the teacher, that's usually the best way to do it. Also, on afternoon latchkey, the pickup for that is also at the back door along Tuscarawas Avenue, because again, usually by the time latchkey ends, we have our secretary is gone, and whoever is monitoring latchkey will be there in the cafeteria. That's the best way to get connected. So I hope that answers that question. So I did mention masses, but I'll say it again. We are going to do masses on a regular basis in smaller groups, only because Father Lonzo likes having students at mass every day. So that works. But that's not going to stop us from having all school masses. So on holy days, we'll definitely have all of our students in church together. We are also doing an opening mass on Friday morning, where all of our students will be there without kindergarten. We won't ask kindergartners to come to mass right away until they've had some time to get acclimated over the first month or two of school to everything else. Volunteer hours, to the best we can do, we're going to get back to the normal volunteer pattern. So every family, not per child, but per family, needs to do 25 volunteer hours throughout the school year. And you can get those in a lot of ways. If you are involved in parish ministries, if you are a lector or an usher or a Eucharistic minister at Mass, you can get hours that way. If you would like to volunteer at our festival, I did send that link out a couple of weeks ago, maybe it was last week, and we'll also be sending that out again as we get closer to our festival. That's a great way to get hours. When I was a parent, I got all my hours by volunteering with our drama club, which will happen in the springtime. So that's that's great, and we'll look for other opportunities throughout the year. We think that we'll be able to invite parent volunteers to come in and help in our classrooms this year, where we need to as well, when the teacher needs some like parent help for certain days, or even just, hey parents, I could use some help, we're getting ready for this big project, can you come in and help me organize, those kind of things. So we hope we can invite invite our families back in. That's again something we missed last year during COVID. the additional note on volunteer hours is for those families who are receiving a parish grant from Blessed Sacrament. That's an additional 15 hours. And again, there's no distinction between, can I get my hours at the church? Can I get my hours at the school? However you can get them. If there's a question as did this count for hours, just ask, just give me a call and let me know. So it would be 25 for everybody. It would be 40 total for those families who are receiving the Blessed Sacrament Parish Grant. Peanut allergies. So, pre-K arrival, we didn't have families walk them in. We'll talk about peanut allergies in a second. What we did kind of the same thing that we do with our K-8 is we had the drop off on the playground and the preschool teacher will greet them there. We did that last year. That was the preschool teacher's desire, that we didn't have like crying parents or crying kids or parents for preschool. But I think on the first day, if you need to walk them in, that would probably work. Other than that, we'll do a normal drop off like we do for our K-8. I hope that answers that question. On peanut allergies, that'd be something that we would want to put you in touch with Nurse Kelly. She handles that. You can send, we do have students who have the epi with them, or here in the office or with them, depending on the needs. So that is something that we can do, and that can stay in the classroom, and we can train the teacher on that. But also you'll have a chance to explain some of those things on medical forms as well. That's a great question. The best way to pay for school lunches, we expect that when FACS is all set up, you'll be able to do that online if you choose. But most of our parents still choose to send money in an envelope and say Caton Family Lunch, and send it in with their students. Teachers send that down to the office in the morning, and then Mrs. Jones will credit your account for lunches. So that's one way to do it. We'll send out more information if it becomes available for you to pay online. We'll let you know that. But again, we're going a little bit slower on FACS than we did last year with Digital Academy. Are staff and volunteers mandated to receive the vaccine? The answer is no. There's been no mandates, and I don't know. I can't predict the future, but I'm not sure we're going to see any new mandates anytime soon. So no, right now there's no mandates, and there's also, we're not really asking because we really shouldn't. It's not really our business at this time. I hope that's the right thing to say, but right now we don't expect any changes. We'll see how the year goes on, but I'm hopeful that the way we're starting is the way we'll be able to go throughout the school year. And that is kind of what happened last year. We started with masks and the distancing and those kind of things, and we were able to do that throughout the entire school year. So let's hope that that's the case, and that it will still be throughout the school year the parent option, or the staff member or the volunteer's option to wear a mask if they are comfortable in doing that. Yes, Mr. Grebe, recess is going back to a pre-COVID structure. We didn't see the need after talking with the health department. Some of you may remember last year we had to sort of segregate students into their own classes, and only first grade could only play on the playground equipment, and second grade could only be on the softball or the kickball field. We're not going to do that this year. We didn't see the need. We asked about that, and again, mostly because it's outside, that makes it easier. So we're going to go back to the old way of doing recess, where if a fourth grader wants to play kickball with the third grade, they can jump in and do that. So again, that's something that we really missed last year. Our kids, one of the things that I think our school does well is build connections between students at various grade levels, and we missed that last year by having to keep people so in their own little silos. Yes, we are doing lockers. We actually did lockers last year. We just kind of limited the amount of people in the hallway at one time. We'll continue to make sort of sensible decisions about distancing or grouping and that sort of thing, but there's not any reason for us not to use lockers this year, and they will be doing so. So good questions. Yay, we got some good questions. So for late arrival or early release due to a doctor appointment, the couple of ways that you can do that. Usually the best way is just to call in to Mrs. Jones at the main school office and say that, my daughter has a dentist appointment. She's going to be gone until we expect her back at 10:50 or whatever, and that way we can mark that. A lot of times the parents will communicate with the teacher, but usually the best way to make sure everybody gets the information is to call Mrs. Jones at the front desk, and she'll both update the attendance records to show that it was a doctor's appointment and not just an absence or a tardy, and then also she can communicate that with the teachers too. That someone is going to be late or is going to have to be released early. But usually a quick phone call to the office or an email, if that's simpler for you. You can also email Mrs. Jones, kjones@cdeducation.org, and you'll be able to access that via fax once we get you connected, is another way that you can communicate. Either one of those work just fine. Did I answer everybody's questions, or did I skip one? We got a few in a row. I want to make sure that I'm answering everybody. Okay. I'm excited to share with you that, and I think I did in an email, but we have a new music teacher who is extremely enthusiastic, in addition to being experienced in middle school music in particular, but also did some work in high schools. But she is excited to begin offering to our grades 5 through 8 students some options for both instrumental music. I think we're kind of calling it beginner band, and also some opportunities for choir. So we're going to start slow with that and let her get to know students a little bit. And build up the program, but then we're going to be doing some creative scheduling things, including, I think, maybe starting some early music classes at 7:30 a couple of days a week. That's down, more information to come, but I'm really excited. Most of you know I'm a music guy. I love music, and I'm really excited that Mrs. Lee, our new music teacher, came to me and said, what do you think about this? And I'm completely on board and excited to see where that goes for us. And also, as the former drama club director, volunteer drama club director at Blessed Sacrament, I'm going to be super excited for us to be able to have our normal, amazing K through 8 drama club production in the springtime. So there'll be more information on that coming, but I have personally missed that, and I know many of our kids have missed the opportunity to do drama club here at Blessed Sacrament. It was one of our real highlights of our school year. So it's really nice to see things coming back. We talked with the staff this morning about, returning to some of our sacramental practices and prayer practices, like end of the quarter benediction, where we all go into the school and pray, some thanks, and to offer our thanks to the Lord for a good quarter. We're going to return to our practice of Wednesday Eucharistic Adoration, where all of our students on the first Wednesday of the month spend some time in Eucharistic Adoration and prayer before the Blessed Sacrament in our church. So really excited to sort of get back to some of those things that we missed. And we hope when we do our Virtues Assemblies this year, that we'll be able to invite parents to come in and be here in person, something else that we missed during last year. So, yeah. Let's see, what else can I riff on here while we are waiting on any more questions? I think that's... Yes, I will, Mrs. Allen. Our new math teacher is Mrs. Caton, who, if you didn't check the email, happens to be my mom, and is a extremely experienced educator, and is really happy to be here with us. And yes, I will have to make sure I'm doing my best, because she was a principal too. So if I'm screwing this up, she can tell me. The school day, it hasn't changed from last year. We're gonna 8:10. 8:10 is when the tardy bell rings. You can drop off as early as 7:50 without latchkey. 8:10 is after 8:10 the student is tardy, and we'll dismiss at 2:40. So you'll probably see students coming out to the playground on a normal good weather dismissal day at about 2:42, 2:43 once we do our afternoon prayers and any announcements that we have, and then teachers will start bringing their students to the playground. Preschool latchkey, yes, because we have hired 2 preschool aides in addition to Mrs. Thomas, our preschool teacher. Yes, there is pre-K before and after school latchkey. So they have to be separate. They can't be in with latchkey with our regular K-8 kids. So our aides will be covering. They'll be there for before and after school latchkey for our pre-K students. So that's again something else where you want to communicate that with the teacher. If it's not something that's regular, if it's regular, then we'll of course get into the habit of connecting them, of making sure that we know who's coming each day. But yes, we are. That was always our plan. Last year, COVID kind of crimped our preschool plans a little bit, but we're getting back into that, and we are offering that both before and after school. Good questions. Let's see. While I'm thinking about it, I know sometimes we have some folks park in the United Methodist parking lot, which was next door to our playground. But given that there's still construction going on over there, and probably will be for some time as they continue to do site work there, we ask you to please not park over there while we get that situated. Hopefully, we'll have some fencing up over the next. I don't know what the time frame is. I'm not really part of that planning. I just see it in action. But and then maybe some green space over there in the not too distant future. But work is continuing, so if you could please not park there, that'll be helpful. Let's see. What else should I say? Yes, we will still be doing home and school meetings. We'll be convening probably for our first meeting in September. So we'll be getting information out about that. We definitely want to get back to that. It was the limited volunteer opportunities last year made it difficult. We couldn't do trips. We couldn't do a lot of special things. This year, I think we're going to be a little more free to do some of those things. So yes, we want to get home and school back up and running. I think I saw a post from our home and school leader a little bit earlier saying, yes, home and school always needs and appreciates our adult volunteers. So it'll be exciting to get some of our old programs back up and running, so we can, we're a community school, and we want our parents to be involved, and we want teachers and parents to be able to communicate with each other. So we're excited about that. Oh yes, Mrs. Chapman has jumped in. And just a reminder, I did say earlier in the meeting, but I'll say it again. If you desire your child to wear a mask while they are at school, we just ask that you let your child's teacher know that. That way we can encourage them to do so. And then, of course, if they decide that they're just not going to do it, then we can let you know your son or daughter decided not to wear a mask this afternoon, and then you can help us to enforce that. So yes, that's just going to be a way for us. The one thing that we don't want is for masks to be sort of haphazard, and sometimes the child's wearing them and sometimes they're not. We can talk about special circumstances in that, but we do know that if they're only wearing them part of the time, when it comes to quarantines, it's not going to affect the health department's decision on who has to quarantine. If we can say, yes, that child consistently wore their mask all day long, every day, they always do, then while they're in their classroom, then we'll be able to tell the health department that if there would be a case where that child is a close contact. Water, home, and school meetings. Great question. Thank you for asking that. I'm sorry. Sometimes I assume things that I shouldn't. Home and school is basically our PTO. And it is a way for our parents and our school to work together to do, it's been, they've handled, home and school has taken the lead, especially in the last couple of years, on a lot of things, and, fun stuff for our kids, support for our teachers, special projects. They bought an air hockey table for our indoor recess. They helped us plan an amazing surprise-ish bowling trip for our entire school. It's hard to believe we did that 2 months before we shut down for COVID in January of 2020. We took all of our kids to the bowling alley during Catholic Schools Week as a big surprise. So it's basically home and school is a way for our families to get connected and to volunteer and to support our mission, which is to make our school a joyful and loving place. And our home and school team has done an awesome job of, just doing fun stuff, whether it's, bringing in treats for kids or St. Nicholas Day or all kinds of things that they've done in the past. So we'll be communicating with you what the calendar is going to be for that, so everybody can know when those meetings are coming up, but they're open to any parents who would like to come. And I think I can speak for our home and school leadership when we say we'd love to have as many parents who want to join us on those evenings. It's been Tuesday evenings in the past. And so I can, we'll get some information to you about that once we finalize our calendar. Great. Okay. Okay. We've been live for about 30 minutes here. I'm happy to stay on for as long as folks need, if there are still questions. Even if it's oh, hey, what about this? You can let me know. We are going to continue. I think perhaps, to some of our teachers' chagrin, we're going to continue the practice of water bottles. It just makes sense. We already have the water bottle fillers in the, already have them installed. So we'll just ask your students to bring a water bottle. That way we're not using the water fountain and sort of cross-contaminating those water fountains all day long. We'll just use the fillers on that. Yes, it is absolutely okay for girls to wear pants and or shorts instead of the jumper. There's no dress code requirement that the girls wear the jumper or in middle school or the skirts. So yes, that is part of the dress code. Girls can wear shorts every day until October 15th, I think is the date when we stop wearing shorts. And then they can wear pants every day. I know we've had girls in the past who have been much more comfortable doing that. That is absolutely okay. I'm just looking over at our church while I'm talking. One thing that I would like to, to encourage is we always have daily mass at Blessed Sacrament Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 8:30 a.m. We're also talking about restarting our student lectors that we've done before. So we'll be having school masses again, we hope, as we get into the school year. So I know a lot of times parents like to visit when their child was one of the ones who was doing one of the readings or who was serving at mass. But you are welcome to join us for daily mass any day. 8:30 a.m. is Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday every week at Blessed Sacrament, and there will always be some school kids there. You'll know what day your child is going to go to mass. If you'd like to join them for mass that day, you're welcome. We love when parents come to our school masses. Yes. No one needs to wear dress shoes. Dress shoes are allowed. Brown or black dress shoes are allowed for both boys and girls. That's fine. The shoe policy is shoes have to be black, a combination of black and white, and primarily one of those two colors. We don't want black shoes with white swoosh and red shoestrings, or we don't want shoes that light up and do lots of colors. They can be all white or nearly all white, or all black or nearly all black with white. So those are the two colors we like when it comes to tennis shoes. The dress code does say no high tops. So we're sticking with that for now. Yes, black socks, that's an addition. Black socks are okay. We heard parents saying that sometimes the navy was hard to find, and we did update the dress code with to allow for black socks. And you'll be seeing that when we share with you the handbook link. Yes, white polos is another addition. So what we did in the springtime is we basically said you no longer need to use School Bells as the primary vendor for school uniforms. You're certainly welcome to continue to do that. I know you probably can't get the jumpers or the skirts for girls unless you're going through School Bells. But for the first time in my tenure here, and as long as I can remember as a parent here too, you can buy the khaki pants, khaki shorts, navy pants, navy shorts, tan, maroon, or white polo shirts with to wear at whatever vendor you can find them. So you have some flexibility there in terms of that. So it's going to look a little different this year, especially having white polos. But since most of our students wear the maroon, we thought perhaps maroon polo shirts would be hard to find out in the larger world if you weren't going through School Bells. So we did add white as an option for students. So being a little more flexible, we're anticipating doing some overall changes to our dress code over the next year or so. But for now, that's where we're going. Yes, thank you, a student chiming in here. We are going to go back to our practice of 7th and 8th graders having mass buddies. So we'll pair 7th graders with kindergartners when they start going to mass so they can be buddies for 2 years together. It's one of the things that I loved. And 8th graders will pair with 1st graders for this year. So yes, we're going to get back to that practice. It's something that I loved about our school. I know one of my kids still, when he sees the 8th grader who was his mass buddy out in the community, he still waves and they still say hello to each other. And that's been 6 years. So gym uniforms, we decided to not ask any of our kindergarten through 4th graders to worry about gym uniforms this year. They'll just do gym in their normal school uniforms. We did that last year, and I don't think there were any significant issues with that. For 5 through 8, we are going to have gym uniforms, and we're going to ask them to change into gym uniforms for a couple of reasons. We'll be getting order forms out to you within the first week of school if you need to order new gym uniforms. And if they have gym and you don't have a uniform that fits your child right now, before we get those out to you, no worries. They can wear, any sort of normal t-shirt and shorts that would be appropriate for school for gym uniforms. So we do have, I'm seeing some questions about used uniforms. We do have a stock of used uniforms here at the school. The best way to do that would be just, especially in the day, well, tomorrow before school, but if there's a time you'd like to come in after school or during the school day, just call and talk to Katie and say, hey, I'm interested in looking at a couple of uniform options that see if you have anything in the used uniform storage. And just let us know when you might be coming, and we'll have someone available that can take you down to the store and shop a little bit for those. Mrs. Allen says she's got a skirt available if anybody's interested, and some shirts. So if you want to see that there in the chat, if you want, you could either say, yes, I will claim them in the chat, or you can let me know and I can reach out to Mrs. Allen and we can get those to you. So yeah, the uniform is going to look a little different this year, but if you have questions about that going forward, just ask. that's not the goal. We want our students to look nice. We want their appearance to not be something that is a distraction or takes away from learning or calls attention to themselves in any sort of undue way, because we want to love the person and not their clothing. But it's going to look a little different this year. We may have a couple of different shades of khaki pants because we opened that up a little bit, and that's going to be okay. We think perhaps the added flexibility to parents is going to trump that. And we still want kids to look nice, and we'll still ask them to do that. But if you have any questions going forward about that, just let me know. It'll be interesting to see everybody coming in who's wearing white on Wednesday, because that'll be new for us. Great point, Dr. Anderson. So yes, I did talk about volunteering, but I didn't talk about some of the other things that need to go into that. Before you volunteer in our school, you do have to have background checks done. That's a fingerprint check. And you also have to take the Protecting God's Children class, which is offered through the diocese. Used to be they did them in person frequently. Recently, they've been doing them via Zooms. And if you have questions about that, you can call Katie, you can email me, and we can get you connected to what you need to do to become a volunteer. It does take a little while, especially right now, for fingerprints to be returned. So you couldn't say, hey, I'd like to volunteer tomorrow. I got my fingerprints yesterday. It usually takes a little bit longer than that. So if you think you might want to be a volunteer for our school, you have to go through those things. That's all spelled out in the handbook, which you'll get the link to tomorrow or the first day of school. So you can sort of check into that. But yes, those things have to be done. Thanks for the reminder on that. Also can find used uniforms, even jumpers sometimes, at both St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores. I actually didn't know that. So that may be an option for those of you who are looking for particularly the jumpers or skirts for your girls. Great question. Great. I appreciate the volunteer. That's something we didn't have to talk about too much last year. We didn't have enough volunteers. Really appreciate all these questions. Let me see, what else can I share with you that would be new or different this year? Oh, I do want to share. I did put this in the email. I do share. I do want to share. We have an intervention specialist who we hired early last week. Her name is Kate Conway. Really excited about her. She's a super faithful lady who is who recently changed careers into from the business world into education, and has a degree from Otterbein in working with children with learning needs. So really excited to have her. She'll be with us on Wednesday, and then we'll be back again next week. And I can't wait for some of you to meet her. She's dynamic and is going to be great. Yes. So we will be able to communicate with parents when those come in, because the way it'll work is those get input into a database that the diocese manages that keeps track of everybody's fingerprint records who is a volunteer, either in a Catholic parish or in a Catholic school. And it will also keeps track of who's taken that Protecting God's Children course. So yes, we can let you know that. It's been there have been some delays on that this summer, but that's not always the case. A lot of times they're back within a week. So if you see yourself wanting to volunteer and be a part of your child's classroom, or volunteering for drama club, or whatever the opportunity comes up, we can get you that information, and you can go get the prints done at like a web check service, and what you would need to do to make sure that the diocese gets that. Because sometimes people have just done it and not sent it to the right place, and then we can't see it. And because of chain of custody things, we're not even allowed to access it if you've sent it to somewhere else. So if you're planning to get fingerprints done or Protecting God's Children, let us know, and we'll get you the information so you can make sure that we do it right the first time. Yes, there is a link on the diocesan website for Protecting God's Children Zooms, which can connect you to that. It's basically a class that just, talks about the signs of child abuse and how to prevent that in our schools and in our community. So everybody who's working here has gone through that. So, but you only have to do that once. Great. I feel like we need some of the Jeopardy music right now while we're waiting on anything else to come through. Chromebooks, yes. So we will still be using Chromebooks really in 3rd grade through 8th grade, but they're not really Chromebooks to go home. They'll have a device that's assigned to them here at the school, and we'll use them during the day, and they'll travel with them from classroom to classroom. That is a big change. I'm glad I thought to say that. We are rotating classrooms again for our middle school students. Some of you will remember that last year it was the teachers that rotated from room to room, so we didn't have students going to different desks and that sort of thing. But there is currently no guidelines that would stop us from having students doing the class changing instead of the teachers. But in terms of Chromebooks, yes, students will have one. It'll be assigned to them, and it will travel with them here at school. If there was a case where they needed to go home, we could make that happen. We would just sign it out. We did that a couple of times when we had students who had to quarantine and were learning from home. We did sign them out and sent them home, and we can do that again if we need to. But as a matter of practice, they stay here in our school, in our building. And for our K and 1 students, they use the iPads, which also stay here in our building. As a matter of course. But again, if there's a situation where we need to sign one out, we're more than happy to do that for whatever reason. Okay, I'm not seeing anybody drop out, so people are still waiting on questions here. Still have 34 viewers. Thanks for the thumbs up, by the way. That'll really help our YouTube algorithm as people try to look for it. Well, what we'll do with Chromebooks is we actually bought cases that every student will have a case that their Chromebook goes in, and that's how you'll carry them from room to room. They have handles. That way we don't have to worry about students dropping them or trying to stack them up on other books. So we've got cases for each Chromebook, and students will have we'll take them with them from classroom to classroom. Good question. So I don't think there was anything. There's a question about purchasing a wireless mouse. That was I don't think that would have come from us. It certainly didn't come from me. I don't necessarily have a problem with that if students would prefer that rather than the trackpad that is part of the Chromebook's built-in functionality. But no, I don't. There wasn't any requirement that came from me regarding asking parents to purchase a wireless mouse. We didn't do that unless somebody asked and I didn't know. It's on the supply list. Okay. I don't know that. I would say if that's okay, optional. Yeah. Great. If it's optional, great. If you want to use a wireless mouse, if your child wants to use a wireless mouse, they can have that. It'll just be connected to their device. It can travel with them in their Chromebooks, but not a requirement. While I'm thinking about a couple of new things, we also, some of you know that our youth minister, Caitlin Warner, who has been with us for the last few years, is discerning a religious vocation. So she won't be with us this year, but we have a new coordinator of faith formation and youth ministry, and her name is Megan Swadera. and she met our staff today, and she's going to be, we'll be communicating some things about youth group and family nights and those kind of things in the future, which again, it'll be really nice to get back into a routine, offering those faith opportunities to our families and to our kids. Yes, Robin, we are going to allow you to walk your children onto the playground on that first day. We won't do into the building with the possible exception of preschool, but yes, you can walk them onto the playground on that first morning on Wednesday. Let's hope it's not raining. I heard there was a chance of rain on Wednesday, but yes, we're going to allow that. It's outside. I don't think there's any reason why we shouldn't be able to do that. I can't wait to see all the kids again. That's one of my favorite times of the whole year is that first day, kids coming onto the playground. So I'm really excited for that first Wednesday morning, seeing everybody again. That is the plan. We don't want that to go away. Rosary Club, great question. Will we still have Rosary Club? We don't want that. We don't want that to go away. But we don't necessarily have a plan in place for how it will continue or who will be managing it. But we've started some conversations about that. Great question. We had, a consistent group of kids who were at Rosary Club making rosaries twice a month. And we don't want that to go away. So we'll figure out how that works, Miss Amelia, and we will let you know, but we want that to continue. That is one of the question is there time to drop off supplies prior to the first day of school? I know it's a lot in terms of how to bring stuff in, but I think we're just going to have to do the best we can. If you're available and you'd like to drop a handful of stuff off tomorrow, label it with your child's name and you can drop them off. And I think we would keep them here in the office and then send them upstairs if it's too much to bring in all on that first day. It is one of the things we miss about the in-person open house is everybody having a chance to drop off supplies in their classroom before that first day. But we're just going to have to do the best and make the best of it. If you really want to drop stuff off tomorrow, by all means, you can drop stuff off and we'll just keep them here in the office and then send them upstairs. Just make sure things are labeled so we know which classroom it goes to. But other than that, we'll just, we'll help everybody get things upstairs or to the downstairs rooms on that first day. So you're very welcome. God bless. Yes. Let's hope next year we can all meet in the annex and be back together again. So great. I really appreciate you all showing up. I didn't know if there would still, I didn't know how much interest this would generate, but I'm glad you came and I'm glad you asked a lot of good questions. Let's see. Actually, I wonder if Miss Amelia, who asked the question, can help us respond. I think Rosary Club was 3rd grade and up. Or maybe Mrs. McKenzie, whose daughter was also a Rosary Club person. I think we were doing it in 3rd grade. I don't think we started younger than that, but I do think 3rd grade and up. If anybody can answer that, that would be great. Some of our Rosary Club families who are part of our Zoom here. I think that's what it was. And we did have, it was mostly young ladies who were doing it, but we did have some boys who were there every time too. Yeah, good times. Hey, thank you, Lena. 3rd grade and up for Rosary Club. 3rd grade through 8th grade are eligible to do Rosary Club. And that was after school twice a month on Wednesdays. We'll try to continue that just because that was the habit we got into. But I just want to make sure with Caitlin gone, since she owned that along with one of our parishioners. I just want to make sure that we have a plan in place before we start communicating that. But definitely don't want that to go away. I would hate to have there would be a sad Caitlin too if we stopped Rosary Club. So we don't want to do that. And plus, you have those nice shirts that you can wear on Rosary Club days. We don't want those to get stuck in the drawer. Okay. Well, I am running out of ad libs. But if there's any more questions, feel free to type it in. If something comes up after we're off the air here, don't hesitate to email or call, and we'll do our best to answer them. Other than that, we're looking forward to a relatively normal school year this year, and we'll be excited to have everybody back in the building with us on Wednesday. It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe we're already starting school, but I'm excited, and I hope your kiddos are excited. And yeah, it's going to be nice. It's going to be nice to be able to send out emails to you all saying, "Hey, here's this event that's coming up, and you can attend it in person if you would like." That's going to be great. So thank you all. I appreciate your time and your questions. Thank you for your partnership with our school. We can't do what we do without our parents and our guardians and all of our support. So I'm grateful to you. Thanks very much, and look forward to seeing some of you in person real soon. All right. Good night, everyone. God bless.